Root damage from trees is a frustrating reality. We're going to tell you what root barriers are, when and how to use them so that they're at their most effective performance. We're here today planting some 24-inch box Chinese elms. This project was designed to minimize damage to concrete walks, and we're going to show you how that's done so that you can prevent damage to your driveway and your walkway and even the foundation of your house. Very helpful aspect of tree root barriers that I run across all the time is after the fact. So we go into a project that has lots of damage to walks and driveways, and what can be done is root pruning. So you dig a deep trench and you cut the roots right in front of the paving that's damaged, and you can avoid damaging the actual tree as long as you're not doing it all the way around the tree or on more than one side of the tree, and as long as it's not real close to the tree and these aren't huge, major roots. So root pruning is a very common practice. I would probably recommend, if you're going to do it extensively, you do it under the advice of an arborist. It's very useful to do root pruning combined with then installing the root barrier right in front of the roots that have just been pruned. I'm John Valentino, president of John and Bob's Corporation. I'm a landscape architect and a landscape contractor. My assistant is Chip Valentino, and we're here at a project that we've shown you before. It's a major hospital in Fresno, California, where we're renovating the landscape on the entire campus and making it water efficient, so in a xeriscape style. There are lots of different types of root barriers. What we'll be looking at today is the one we're using on this project. There are chemical root barriers on the market. We're not using any of those here. Root barrier is some type of barrier that prevents roots from causing damage, and usually it does that by redirecting the roots down. That's the whole idea. So that root barrier needs to be finished at the right level. You don't want it too low because the root could go right over the root barrier and still get back into the soil. So it needs to be high enough. Deep root makes these 2-foot long panels that slide together. In the case of this project, it's a requirement that any tree within 8 feet of either concrete or paving of any kind get some type of root barrier. So the question of the right place to use it is probably up for some debate, and different landscape architects will specify differently. The landscape architect on this project feels that anything within 8 feet one direction or another of the trunk should be protected by root barriers, and that's pretty generous. I've seen some plans that keep it at 5 feet. Usually they range from 5 to 10 feet, but 8 feet is a good amount. We're being safe. Although you can encircle the tree, and that's a common way to install them, it's probably better for the health of the tree and for the safety of the paving nearby to use them along that paving rather than make a circle around the tree. But those are the two options. In this case, these 2-foot deep pieces of plastic are specified for us to put 6 of them together. So that makes a 12-foot long barrier, 6 feet on either side of the tree trunk, right along the curb, in order to encourage those roots to go down when they hit this rigid plastic barrier. I like the deep root barrier because the top is very sturdy and it doesn't fray and break down, which sometimes roots could go right through that a weakened top of the root barrier. If you look at the deep root barrier, you'll see that the top is very sturdy, and so roots, it doesn't break down, it stays put together. These barriers are expensive, so you want to use them only where you really need them. our cost for one of these 2-foot, they've gone up a lot in the last year or so. Not that long ago I was buying these panels for $2.50 a piece, but right now one of these panels is about $8 our cost, which is a wholesale cost. So they're expensive. If we're putting 6 together for one side, and we're doing 2 sides almost in every tree, so that's $100 just to buy the root barriers. The least expensive way would be to just put 3 or 4 root barriers directly around a tree, and then you could buy those root barriers. Let's say you do 5 of them, you could buy them for about $50, and you could probably have them installed for about the same. So it's going to cost about $100. But if it's money well spent in order to prevent damage down the road, I would say it would be worth it. You can see what we have set up here with this tree, where we've done a very large excavation, but we've avoided excavating right up to the root barriers, because the strategy here is we're trying to prepare the soil and loosen the soil actually to a pretty deep level and a broad level, way more than double the size of the container of the box of this Chinese elm. And the purpose of this is we're loosening all this soil where we want the tree roots to go, and then we're keeping the soil undisturbed right in front of the root barrier so that they're less likely to even go that direction. They eventually will get there and hit the root barrier and go down. But for now, we're encouraging the roots to go down just by the nature of how we're excavating the tree pit for planting. So that's a strategy as you're preparing to plant trees near sidewalks and driveways, is not only use the root barrier, but do preparation of the soil to encourage those roots to stay away from the paving we're attempting to protect. The irrigation is another important part, and you see what we have set up here looks like kind of a sophisticated contraption, and there's a lot of different ways this can be handled. What's required on this project is we use this ADS pipe, and it has holes in it all around where water can come out, and we put this in the ground 3 feet deep, and we have you can see we have a swing joint here, so this moves, and this so that these won't break. They swing, they move. That's kind of for another topic when we talk about irrigation, but it's a way to make sure you can't kick it and break it, because it's got a series of elbows on it that allows it to move. So the ADS 3-inch pipe has a sock around it, and the purpose of the sock is so that it stays as clean as possible. The holes, the slits in the ADS pipe don't get plugged. We're trying to keep the integrity of this pipe so that water can flow. What we're doing is we're delivering water and making sure that water goes down, because we want the roots to go down, and we don't want to just apply a bunch of water real fast right on top of the soil and have that water stay there. So we're preparing this hole in a very thorough way, and then we're using these tree bubbler systems. We're applying the water slowly with some kind of emitter, and we're allowing it to soak into this tube down to 3 feet. And the whole purpose is we're trying to get these roots to go deeply, even under these tree root barriers. Maybe we won't even need the tree root barriers, but we're trying everything we can. This combination of root barriers, proper preparation of the hole, and an irrigation system that encourages deep watering. Now you can do the same thing with just a simple drip system. You could put rings of drip right around the tree, and by the nature of it delivering water very slowly in a well-prepared area, you could have a pretty deep penetration. The other trick we use that is really effective is we use a lot of our blend, and we use it right around the roots of these new trees and then all the way up to the very top of the root ball. But what we're trying to do is make this area not texturally different, because we used the soil right back, but we used our product to make it full of life, full of beneficial soil life. We have mycorrhiza in blend, and mycorrhiza attaches itself to roots. The combination of roots and mycorrhiza is a powerful one, and that's key in allowing rooting to occur at a very deep level. And that's very preferable to shallow rooting. It's shallow rooting that causes the kinds of problems that we're trying to avoid here. A couple of weeks back, we showed you our renovation of a xeriscape garden. Actually, we turned a water-using garden into a xeriscape garden, and we asked you what features you thought you would want to include in your own xeriscape garden. So our favorite answer and the winner of a free bag of blend is... This week we'd like you to tell us about your tree root problems. Maybe we can help you solve them, or maybe you just feel better talking about them. Share them with us and we will award the best tree root story. Hopefully it's a positive story, but it can be a horrific story, with a free bag of blend, which if you use it around your trees will encourage deep rooting. Check out our prior video that's related to this one. It teaches you how to repair damage from tree roots, and we replaced a concrete sidewalk.